I've had a lot of neck injury, neck pain issues, and so it's kind of difficult for me to like sit hunched over in front of a computer right now. But I wanted to do a free kind of update on everybody on where everything is going. Um, so the first thing is that I want to talk about is the IRS. Through a friend of mine and some of the other movement circles, this would be the Patriot movement, which is more like, veterans and, people like that. They're talking a lot about this thing where Trump is trying to abolish the IRS or has abolished it. I do know that Daniel Werfel, who's the commissioner of the IRS, resigned a year ago, and they haven't replaced him since, which is kind of a red flag to me. Um, you know, Knowing how companies run, it's pretty hard to not replace the CEO. Um, so there's that. There's the IRS 1099 forms. Everything's moving like snail pace, like the slowest I've ever seen it move. So I kind of tend to believe that. I have I have a lien. Um, I'll share some of the stuff with you guys right now. Um, so show
So,
you.
can I ask you a question real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
What do you think about like Nasara Jasara?
Well, it's kind of all the same thing.
Yeah.
It's it's like one's international, one's national. Um, and I think what's happening, to tell you the truth, is that Trump is moving everything into the US Treasury.
Mhm.
So there's not going to be a IRS Treasury that you're going to have the external, they call it the external IRS, which is outside of America. It's basically the IMF,
Mhm.
International Monetary Fund. They can't abolish that, right? But the IRS treasury that is set up in America, the corporation, for the corporation, that's what's being, from my understanding, being abolished. And he's going to give the power back to the US Treasury, the constitutional treasury. There'll still be Federal Reserve notes. They'll still be, well, they won't be Federal Reserve notes. They're called Treasury notes. So there'll still be notes. There'll be loans from the Treasury, and it'll probably function almost identical to the IRS, except for you're not going to have the middleman. So all the trusts of all the people will be managed through the constitutional treasury,
Yeah.
is my understanding with it. But I'll just show you
So we're
guys.
just kind of in like a lagging place, it feels like.
Yeah,
Okay.
affidavit. I keep just put it up here. There it is. So this is a federal tax lien. This is what it looks like. This is mine. It's 233,000. This is for a company that I closed after the bankruptcy. Then the IRS assessed a lien to the bankruptcy, and then they charged me. And because I was the principal of it, so they did this. And then once they did this, then they put me in. They put me in they take your whole account and they give it to what's called an RO, recovery officer. So then I got a hold of my recovery officer who is in Wyoming, and then I kind of sent everything to him. So I talked to the IRS the other day, well, a lawyer from the IRS. Here it is. And they were basically saying they didn't get my returns, right? So I had to reprint all of them and I have to mail them to a different office, which is weird. So this one here is I sent my returns before and they sent me a frivolous return letter. This is how you deal with this because they can't charge you $5,000 for filing a tax return. So here's the cover letter. So I rescission that, and then when I do this, I write this stuff on it. Write a rescission. Your offer to contract is in violation of the rights under color of law of 18 USC 241 and 242. Any agent of the receiver embezzles, abstracts, purloins, or willfully misapplies any monies, funds, or credits, 18 USC 657. If the Treasurer of the United States and any depository fails to keep safely all monies deposited by any dispersing officer or dispersing agent, as well as monies deposited by any receiver, collector, or other person having money of the United States, he or she is guilty of embezzlement, 18 USC 650. So I put these on every single page that they sent of this frivolous letter. They didn't charge me frivolous. They said, if you don't stop, we're going to charge you $5,000. I'm like, fuck you, here. So I did this and every single page, it's printed on the front. It's in red. You can't see it because it's a copy, but it's in bright red. And then I wrote a letter. Hello, I hope you find this well. This is a response to a rescission letter received from your office on December 3rd, 2024. The letter contract was detailing items that were in violation of the Internal Revenue Code for your communication not to be construed as fraud and violation of the American people. I must point out a few things. I accept, acknowledge, and invoke your bond. I am not, nor have I ever been the taxpayer known as Kent Stark's SSN number. I am the representative of the taxpayer Kent Stark, and that is backed up by the 2848. I am the real man standing on the land of the family Stark. There is not a jurisdiction in admiralty law that allows you to have authority over the natural person. You will find enclosed the proper rescission of the contract and the stamp endorsement on the front addressing the crimes to the American people. Understand this, you don't have rights. You personally don't have rights. Okay? The only thing the only thing that has rights are the American people, and you are one of the American people. So you have to come at them this way. You can't come at them and saying you took this from me, right? You have to come at them as the American people because you're one of the sovereign people. So then I just listed out 18 USC 241 and 242, 18 USC 650, 657. It is legal for any agent to withhold funds from the American national, i.e., we the people. Any further threats will result in the case being filed at U.S. tax court. And then these are the amounts that they owe me. To deny these funds at this time will cause serious harm. I do realize that there's a tax lien that has to be satisfied. And according to the IRM, the tax debt can be satisfied through refunds and prior years owed. Please expedite immediately. And then I sent this letter. Basically here are the documents that you require of the non-decedent, right? So I am no longer a non-decedent estate. I am a trust, right? And so then I sent the trust certification of trust, and then I mailed all that to them. So this is a big reason why they're dragging their feet is because they're in violation. One of these is a $30,000 fine and it's $1 million fine and 30 years in prison for I think it's 650. 657. Yeah, $1 million in prison for 30 years. So this is how you come at them when they're doing stuff like this, okay? Now, when you do this, remember, you always do this. Form 56, right? Making them the fiduciary, right? Because they can't do anything or change anything if you don't give them permission, right? So you always got to do this, right? Make sure this is in place. This is the taxpayer here, taxpayer information. The representative is me, the individual banker, right? Let's see. Right. And and to show you binder. So here's the letter for the reprint, right? Because the tax guy told me, or the lawyer for the IRS told me, hey, um, you need to resend them. So he gave me this different address. I've never used this address before in my life. But do you know what is in Kansas City, Missouri? Anybody?
The treasury?
The U.S. Constitutional Treasury.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Right.
I remember
So it
seeing
used to be in Cairo, Illinois. And I've showed you guys pictures of this before. Of the one in Cairo, Illinois. It was built in 1897. And it was like 1913 when the Federal Reserve IRS thing, then they moved it to Kansas City.
that.
So this is the address the guy gave me. Hello, hope you find this well. This is an official notice for returns that were sent to Joseph Archer of the IRS in Casper, Wyoming. I am the agent for the account Kent N. Stark. Social security number, redemption number. I am resubmitting these forms in good faith and I expect them to be filed expeditiously. I am also enclosing a tax lien, and the refunds on the returns are to be paid on the lien first, and then the remainder is to be sent to check to my address at P.O. Box 61, Dodgeville, Wisconsin. So that was the letter, and then I'll just show you, here's no, it's nothing. So here's an example. This is a 2023 1040V. All right. You put your social security number here. You put the negative number. Whatever the refund amount is, that's a negative number up here. Then you put your name, middle initial, last name, address, and so on, and that's it. And you send that with the 1040. So let me find a 1040. No, we don't want that. All right, can you guys see this? So this is a standard 1040. So as you can see here, that's W-2 income, 30,000. And then 1,259,609 were OIDs. And then I paid the tax, 261,000. And so the remainder was 1,025,403. And then, or this is the tax, 379,000 was the total tax that was paid. So whenever I do one of these filings and I have a bunch of OIDs, like in 2024, my 1040 is going to be like 2.5 million. So whenever you do this, and how you do this is you just go apply for loans. Every time you apply for a loan, they can't not approve you. So if you do Like the one car dealership I went to sent it out to 12 places. It's $40,000. $40,000 times 12 is like 480,000. So I was able to create $480,000 in revenue and I claimed it on an OID in my taxes. So I always pay the tax. I don't just like send in OIDs and tell them to send me a check for the amount. I take it, I put it on a 1040, I pay the tax, right? And then so the total was 1,461,000, and then you take out the 379,496, and it comes down to 1,082,113. Then the rest of it is just like how you got to that number, right? If you use Free Tax USA, like I've been telling you guys, and you plug in your OIDs and your Bs and all that stuff, it automatically does this for you. So you just, there's like 18 pages of it. So anyway, you do that with a V, and you send that to the IRS. And that's basically how that all works. So I'm gonna stop sharing for a minute and I want you guys to ask some questions.
Okay, I have a question. Um, with our tax return, we didn't do taxes this year because I've kind of been in limbo with everything. So how would we go about doing that? Just like you just showed?
Yeah, so you get on Free Tax USA for the year that you're going to do it, and then you put in your regular W-2 income and all that stuff
Hmm.
like you would normally do. And then all the 1099s and miscellaneous and OIDs and all the stuff you did, you got to have all that stuff in front of you. And then you put those in the Free Tax USA program and it automatically puts it where it's supposed to be and takes the tax out. And
Okay.
like for example, though, all those 1099s that we did for your credit cards,
Hmm.
it's irrelevant if they don't zero your debt. What's relevant is that you reported them to the IRS. That's what they're mad at
Yeah.
because they don't want to have to pay tax on all that, right? So
Yeah.
that's how you do it. And then you go through it, with your OIDs and all that stuff. And you're going to come up with, a number, so if you guaranteed, I don't remember what the number was, but it's pretty close to 100,000.
Yeah.
You should be able to get close to like, it'd be like 200,000 would be the total income. And then, some of that wasn't withheld. And then you pay the tax on it. So you should be able to come up with 80 or $90,000 refund. And doing this right every year, you should be able to come up with 50 to $100,000 back, through your utility bills and mortgages and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's what's important here, right? Now, you can do it off the trust you have, right? Your name is a trust. You can use that, but that's a trust they control. So what I teach people is how to create a series of trusts that they can use to do this with.
Hmm.
But you really need to get to the point where you are administering.
Yeah.
That's what this is called. That's what I'm talking to you about right now is administering your trust.
Yeah. I need to work on it all. So
Yeah.
it's just a lot. So I'm just trying to take it one step at a time. Um, yeah. Another question. So, okay, I get that that's the mortgage and stuff, but we own a business. And so we haven't done anything yet. And so I didn't know how that all tied in. I can talk to you about this later too, if I need to.
No, it's fine. You can ask these questions now. That's
Okay.
why, that's why this is.
Okay.
So if you have a business, that it depends on, is it a sole proprietorship or is it a
We've got an LLC
LLC?
and this sole proprietorship. So we have two.
So the sole proprietorship would go on a 1040 as a Schedule C.
Okay.
The LLC has its own you file taxes as a corporation.
Okay.
Um, so that you have to go through. There's another program that you can do it yourself,
Okay.
but I take all my business stuff to a tax guy.
Yeah, the guy
That's
we had, we weren't happy with, so I just kind of I didn't know where we were
yeah,
at. So we'll have
yeah,
to find if that's
it's
what you
really
recommend doing. I just want to stay in good with everything. So I don't want trouble. So I'm just kind of juggling both. So that's where it gets a little confusing on sending these in.
yeah. So I
I
wouldn't
don't
be
know how
opposed
many
to
I
your
can
sole
send in.
proprietorship being on your taxes, like that's cool. But when you get to the LLC stuff, you want to separate that from any of that or stuff you're doing. You just want to do the LLC stuff normally.
Okay.
Right. Now, I know some people claim that you can claim back all your expenses on the LLC, which you can do. But you got to take stuff, baby steps here. And
Okay.
you got to have a good understanding of what you're doing before you like dig into more stuff.
Yeah.
So,
All right. Well, I have a little more clarity now. So thank you.
Yeah,
anything
can you
else?
hear me?
I can hear you.
Good evening, everybody. I have two questions. One is pertaining to why or how can you multiply the price of the automobile by 12?
Okay, so what they do is when you go to a dealership and you try and get a loan, they send it to 12 lenders. So each one of those lenders, you did a application. The application is a guaranteed letter of credit and it has value. So if you went to a dealership and they denied you a loan 12 times, that means you can create an OID on 12 different lending institutions and claim it back on your taxes.
So that is automatic. Any car dealership that you apply to purchase a vehicle.
Yeah, they have to tell you who they sent it to. So I always get a list. I say, can you give me a list of everybody you sent it to? Yeah. Can I get a copy of the
Okay.
credit report that you pulled? They have to give it to you. Then sign it, right? Because then you just created value.
Okay.
Then
And
they're gonna
my
give you a purchase agreement. They're gonna say, "Yep, this is the purchase agreement, and this is XYZ." Make them sign it, and then you sign it, and you say, "Can I have a copy?" And then you take all that paperwork, that's your source paperwork, and you do the OIDs at the end of the year for them not giving you the loan because they cannot deny you credit. So you turn them in, and they're gonna have to pay tax on the
okay.
12 companies. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. But I heard that when you do the 1096, that you can there you can claim the value from the car dealership and the company that is financing also. Is that true?
Yeah, the 1096 just a cover sheet. The 1096 is
Okay.
the cover sheet for the 1099 OID.
All right. My second question is if you have a 98C trust. And can you obtain enough value or enough credits to fund your own trust and claim that the following year?
Yeah, you can. You can move credits from your personal account to the trust, but that's a little more advanced in the trust administration. Right now, I'm just trying to give people the groundwork on how to administer a trust and like, how to like, get rid of credit cards and stuff like that. When you get into more advanced stuff, you can use your banker account to move money into your trust.
Okay, and thank you.
You're welcome, sir. Thank you. So, that's about all I have for this part of it. I'm going to do another one here tonight on some trusts. So I'm gonna shut this down and then I'll reopen it because it only lets me go like 40 minutes. So I'm gonna do that right now and then you guys can rejoin, okay?
Sounds good.
Right.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Okay,
Bye.
thank you.